How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial video. This is the second tutorial video on my channel, and in this tutorial I'm actually going to show you how to stream and how to record multiple audio tracks at the same time. Let's jump straight into it. Please note that this is a rather lengthy tutorial, so what I did is, if you check down in the description below, you will see timestamps if you want to skip to a certain part and or just want to find out a certain part of the video. Feel free to do so, it will be in the description below. First things first, you're gonna need a very powerful PC to do this. I've got an i7-4790K CPU, so basically you're gonna need a 4-core 8-thread CPU to do this, and you're also gonna need 16GB of RAM or more. I wouldn't go less than 12 gig, I don't think it will work with 12 gig to be honest. 8 gig is way too low for this. You will also need a dedicated hard drive. I've got a 3TB recording hard drive, and my GPU is a GTX 980 Ti. Now also keep in mind, like I mentioned in the title, this is free. OBS Studio, Voicemeeter and the VB cable is free, or you could donate if you really wanted to. I would highly recommend that you donate, because these guys does incredible work with these pieces of software, and making it free is just wow. How is this actually free? Okay, so you're gonna have to download a few software. One will be OBS Studio, which you can see right now. Second one will be the Voicemeeter, and the third one will be the VB cable. Now I will leave all the links in the description below. In OBS Studio, you can just click download installer. This is the version 20.1. This is the one that you want. You can also go ahead and download from VB Audio Software the Banana Voicemeeter app, because I'm going to show you on my one, which is right over here. It's already set up, so just go ahead and download this one. You can just scroll down and you will see there's the download link. It will be in a zip file, so make sure you have a zip software to unzip it and just put it on your desktop. You can also donate, like I mentioned, but you don't have to. You can just click download and we'll start downloading. And the last piece of software you will need is a VB audio cable. Now you can just scroll down. Once again, it will be a zip file. You can just click download and it will start downloading. If you want an additional cable for whatever reason, then you're gonna have to donate a certain amount of money to get the second cable. Once you've installed the software, there will be a message that you might need to restart your PC. Go ahead and restart your PC anyway and come back to this video. Welcome back, you sexy man, beast or woman. The next step is going to be how to set up Voicemeeter. Okay, so now you can see that I've got the Voicemeeter here in front of me. I'm going to quickly run you through it, how to set that up. Now, a bit of a OCD, I leave hardware input 1, I just leave it open and nothing selected here. Once you select something, it will go green like this B1. My hardware input 2 is the cable output, and I put it to WDM. Now this is the settings that work for me, so I just recommend that you just do the same. Okay, so I put WDM cable output, which is the cable which you just install, and select B1 only. Nothing else. Hardware input 3, don't have to select anything, just put it at the A1. Yeah, you don't have to change anything, you can just leave A1. And then hardware out, you need to select your speakers or your headset which you use for your system sound or your game sound. So this is what you need to select. I've got mine, the Razer Kraken, and it's selected to MME. Once that is all selected, you can just go ahead and close down Voicemeeter. But before you do, a very handy feature is select this one. I just deselected it, but you can select that one, and then it will, once Windows starts up, the Voicemeeter will also run at startup. So it will be here, right over there, it will be there. Okay, so that's a pretty handy feature. Next thing is, you're gonna have to go into your Playback Devices. To do that, you're gonna have to go to your taskbar, and you'll see the little speaker icon on the taskbar. Right click, left click on Playback Devices, and you can scroll all the way down. You can see there's your cable and there's your Voicemeeter. Now you need to make your Voicemeeter the default playback device. So you can just go ahead and right click it, and you will see set as default device. So mine is already selected. As you can see, there's a green marker, so that means it is my default device. And also make sure that your recording device is your microphone. If you don't have a standalone microphone, it's most likely your headset, which has a microphone too. I've got a standalone microphone, which is my Razer Settings Pro. It is the default recording device. Now I'm just quickly going to run you through how to set it up in TeamSpeak and Discord. It will be similar for Skype. It's really not that hard. So this is where the VB cable comes handy. You go to tools in Skype, you go to options, and you will see playback device is cable input. So when I press the play tester, you will hear the dingle. Okay, and then it will be the same for Discord, because I know a lot of people start using more Discord. You just go to your user settings there at the little gear, and then you go to my voice and video. Your input device should be your microphone, and your output device should be the cable input. Well done, you just set up a separate audio line for your VoIP servers. Now that you have Voicemeeter set up and your VoIP is also set up to run through the Voicemeeter, which basically gives you a separate audio line for that dedicated device, let's jump into OBS. Now once you open OBS, you will not have these 4 audio lines. We're going to set that up in a moment. You will also see scenes and you will also see sources. Now I already have a scene, which is this one, and this is for my Twitch, the latest host or latest follower, and I'm going to show you basically how to capture the game. So in sources, you can right click, you can scroll over add, you can select game capture, which is this one. You can also, if you would like to do tutorials, you can also make use of display capture. You can left click on game capture, you can name it to whatever you want to name it, and make sure that the make source is visible, and you can press OK. Then I make use of capture any full screen application. You can also make use of capture specific window. That is when the game is in window mode, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, so I would make use of that, or capture foreground window with hotkey. But I would recommend that you just make use of capture any full screen application. You can just press OK. Now just need to make it fit to this area over here, and to do that, just right click on it and transform and fit to screen. And voila, there you have it. This is basically the thing. This is where the game is going to display. So what I also like to do is I like to lock it. So I just left click on the lock over here, then it can't move. So you can't move it by accident. Okay, so now you've got your game capture. So we're going to go jump into the OBS settings. I'll run through all of the settings and just show you what my settings is. And you can basically just copy it and make use of it. But I will go into a bit more detail when it comes to the audio lines. So to get to the settings, you can either press here settings, or you can go to file and settings, exactly the same place. In general, you will see everything. You can select the language. There's a few languages, quite a lot of languages actually to select from. You can select a different theme. Mine is on Ragni, that's why it looks a bit different. You can put it on dark, you can put it on default. And I like the Ragni theme, so I'm going to keep it over there. Automatically check for updates on startup. Definitely check this one. This is a really important one, because if there's a more stable version of OBS, then you probably want to download that. And all the other things I just left as is, nothing changed over there. The next thing we're going to look at is the stream tab. So go ahead and left click on the stream tab. You want to leave it at streaming services. Then at the service, I'm streaming to Twitch, so I'm going to keep it at Twitch, but there's a few things you can stream to, even YouTube gaming, which is pretty cool. You can also stream to Facebook Live, but I don't know how to set that up yet, so I'll just keep it to Twitch. Let's just keep it simple. And we'll also need your stream key, so you need to go to your channel, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, and you need to go get your stream key. Obviously, I can't show my stream key, because then everybody can just stream to my channel. So do not ever show this key to anyone. Very important. And the server I selected is London, UK, but try to find out what is the closest or best server, not the closest, the best server to stream to when using Twitch. This makes the stream much more stable, and I found out that the London, UK is my best server to stream to. Next, we're going to go to the output. And you will see, this is the settings you will see in output, but we don't want it in output simple mode. We want it in advanced mode. So go ahead and press on the drop down arrow and select advanced. And you will have all of this available, and this is exactly what we're looking for. So let's start with the streaming. You're going to put the streaming track to audio track 1. The encoder will be on your CPU, the X264. AMD uses, there is a codec for your GPU, which you have to download separately, I believe. I will leave the link in the description below for that codec to work with OBS. I leave in for streaming services encoder settings, I leave it on, and I also make use of a rescale output to 1280 by 720. This all depends on your PC and your internet connection. I'll get to the internet connection in just a moment, but I like to rescale it to 720p so I can stream at 60 FPS, as this is what my PC allows me to do, to stream and record at the same time. Rate control, I put mine to CBR, and bitrate is 2000. Now if you want to know how much bitrate you need to use, you need to check your internet connection. How fast is your internet speed? So go ahead and open up speed test. I'll leave a link in the description below. Go to settings and set it to kilobytes per second. It will say your settings were updated, and just press go. What you need to check for is the upload speed. We don't worry much about the download speed, because when you streaming, you make use of upload and not download. Now my internet is pretty fast on upload and not so fast on download. I don't know why this is, but unfortunately it is that way. You'll see in a moment now that my upload is actually kind of ridiculous, but because it's on 4G, it is very unstable. So that is why I leave it to 2000 kilobytes per second. So as you can see, I've got around now 30 for 35,000 kilobytes per second, even though I could make my streaming a bit higher. Look at that, 37,242. Even though I can make my bitrate more, I don't, because I've realized when I put it to 2,500, it makes my stream very unstable and I'm experiencing a lot of dropped frames. Okay, so once you know what is your upload speed, go ahead and set it to anything from 2,000 or 1,500 to 3,500. But the note of caution, if you put it to 3,500, the viewer with a slower connection might have a hard time watching the stream, as it will consistently keep on buffering. Okay, and then you don't have to check use custom buffer size. You don't have to do anything here at the keyframe interval. Use CPU usage preset. I put mine to very fast. I don't use the profile. I did nothing at tune, and I also did nothing at the X264 options. Next up, we can go to the recording tab. So go ahead and left click on the recording tab. The type you can leave it standard. The recording path, this is where I mentioned you need a secondary hard drive to record. So go ahead and click on browse. Mine is selected to J. Let me just show you basically my recording drive. I've got a few hard drives, and you can see here I've got Setup Play and DX Store recordings, which is Day, and there is an OBS folder which I put my recordings in. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that one, so it will record to that hard drive. Next up, you don't have to select generate file name without spaces. Recording format must be MP4. This is to make use of the multi-track. So audio tracks, you're going to have to select 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the encoder will be from your GPU, and I've got it in the video GPU, so you use the NVENC, and like I mentioned, there is a AMD codec which you just have to download separately. You don't have to rescale. I've got a 1920 by 1080p monitor, so I'm going to keep it at that. I don't have to check rescale. You don't have to do anything there. Custom master settings, you don't have to change anything there. And here's where it gets interesting. Now this also all depends on your PC, so you can change a few settings here. If you see these settings don't work for you, you can go to CBR or VBR. I would recommend that you use CBR, which is constant bitrate. VBR is variable bitrate. So keep it to CBR. If your PC is not able to handle CQP, then you can put the CBR to about, say, 50,000. You're gonna have to play around with this, but you can put it to 50,000, which will make the quality of the recordings look pretty damn good. And if you're still experiencing lag in the game while recording, you can bring it down from anything from 50,000 to below. But I put it to CQP, so the quality is very, very good. So you can just put it to CQP, and CQP is set to 18, which looks like semi-lossless codec recording. So I put it to 18 and it looks really, really good. As you've seen a couple of my Rainbow Six Siege videos, they were recorded using these settings. Keyframe interval, you don't have to change anything here. Preset, you can just leave it high quality. Profile, I don't change anything here. Level auto, and I use 2-pass encoding is checked. GPU, I don't change anything here, and B frames are set to 2. In the audio tab, you can set the audio bitrate to 256, make every track basically 256, or you can put it to 160. Now I like to have high quality audio, so I put mine to 256. Just a quick explanation what replay buffer is. It's basically you can record the last 5 minutes of gameplay. I've currently got mine set up to the last 10 minutes of gameplay, but I'm able to do this because I've got 32 gigabytes of RAM. So you can see I've got 600 seconds, which is basically 10 minutes, and maximum memory is 8,000 megabytes. It doesn't allow me to go any higher, so I set it to 8,000 megabytes, which is basically more than enough, basically 8 gig. And I did check the resources in the task manager of my PC while playing Battlefield 1 in ultra settings, recording or using the replay buffer and streaming at the same time, and it was using around 8.3 gigabytes once I hit F11, which, if you remember, is save the replay. So you can play around with it. I am not too familiar with this, but if you've got 16 gig of RAM, maybe set it to 4,000 megabytes. If you got anything lower, then I'm not really sure if this is gonna work. But if you got 16 gigs of RAM, maybe set it to 4,000. It might just work. And also, maybe don't try and do more than 5 minutes. It also might not work. Maybe 6 minutes is okay, but 10 minutes, it's not really going to work. The beauty of this replay buffer is it does record in 4 audio tracks. So this setup is basically for streaming and recording, and we've got a dedicated audio track for streaming, so your viewers can hear everything you hear. So you will get 4 audio tracks and 1 video. Next up, we're going to set up the audio. So go ahead and left click on audio. So as you can see that my sample rate is set to 48. When you open the audio tab for the first time, it will probably be on 44.1, but I put mine to 48 because my headset, my Razer Kraken Chroma supports it. So just make sure that your headset or your speakers can go up to 48, because I think it might cause problems if you put it to 48, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't take my word for it. Next, channels you can keep to stereo, you don't want it in mono. And then desktop audio device. Now this is where the Voicemeeter comes handy. As you can see, I already have my Voicemeeter input, VB audio Voicemeter. So go ahead, click the drop down and select Voicemeter input. Next, there is the desktop audio device 2. So you can go ahead, select it by clicking the drop down arrow and selecting Voicemeeter aux input, and then you're gonna have to select your microphone. So it could be your headset. Remember, if you don't have a standalone mic, then it could be your headset mic that you want to use, but I've got a standalone microphone, which is the Razer Sirion Pro, so I selected that one. And finally, the second mic audio device is your cable output, so go ahead and select your cable output. You don't need audio device 3, so we'll keep that one at disabled. And as you can see, everything else is set to 0 milliseconds. You don't have to change anything here. Next up, we're going to go to the video tab. Now the only thing you're going to change here in the video tab is your FPS. Now usually it would be set to 30 FPS, so go ahead and make it 59.94 if we would like to record at 60 FPS. I keep everything as is. I keep it at 1920 by 1080, and also output scale resolution is 1920 by 1080. Remember, this tab is only for recording and not streaming. Downscale filter is by Cubic, and it is sharpen scaling 16 samples. So go ahead and change the preferred FPS which you would like to record at. So remember, like I mentioned, this is only for recording. If you go to your output and you go to streaming, you already set a rescale output of 1280 by 720 if you're going to use that option. Next up is the hotkeys. You will definitely need hotkeys, especially if you're going to use the replay buffer. Then there's no other way. You need a hotkey for it. So let's go straight ahead to the hotkeys. Now, as you can see, this is my settings. This is my hotkeys for what I want to use. If I want to start or stop a stream, I will press F8. Basically how it works is, if you press F8 once, it will start streaming. When you press it the second time, it will stop the stream. Same for recording and same for start the replay buffer. This doesn't save the recording of the last 5 minutes of gameplay. This only starts it. So once it is started, you press F10 and you're going to play for 2 hours. Keep it running. And if you want to save the last 5 minutes of gameplay, you're going to have to press F11. But it will keep running and it will keep recording. Next tab is the advanced tab. You don't have to change anything here. Now that everything is set up, all you have to do is press apply and then you can press OK. The last thing we need to do is set up the mixer. So what we want to do with the mixer is basically make one audio track, record all audio streams into one track so the viewer on the stream can hear your mic, your VoIP and your in-game sound. And also we want to set it up so you can record, when recording, separate audio tracks. So go ahead and press the gear, left click on the gear, go to advanced options, then you can just copy my settings over here. So you can simply just tick or untick over here, as simple as that. So I've got track 1, I let it all mix into one track. This is full streaming so the viewer can hear everything. And then my other tracks is 4, 3, 2 and 1. So, and the last one is also 2. Reason for this is basically now you're gonna have 4 audio tracks when recording or even using the replay buffer. So one track will have all audio mixed into one channel and the other tracks will be separate audio tracks. The last thing I would like to show you is how the replay buffer works, or even the recording works with 4 audio tracks. So here you can see there's the replay buffer that I used while I was streaming and recording while playing Battlefield 1. This is actually a recording and streaming test which are extracted from my Twitch channel. So I'm gonna open up Vegas. I make use of Vegas and I'm gonna take this replay buffer and I'm gonna drop it here in my timeline. Once it's finishing building the peaks, you can see that I've got now 4 audio tracks. So let's have a listen and hear what it sounds like. Okay, so there is a bit of an echo, but that is because the 4th audio track is all mixed into one. So you can just mute this one. You can drag it down and mute it. Or you can, if you want to, you can just go ahead and delete it. And now let's hear what it sounds like. So that just happened. So there you can hear my mic and you can hear the in-game sound, and this one will be for the VoIP. So I wasn't in a VoIP service. This is why it's muted. There is nothing. and as you can see, it's really working really well. Just keep in mind these file sizes with my settings is rather big. If I click on properties, this one is 722 megabytes in size, and the details is 1920 by 1080, 59 frames per second. And I was only for 3 minutes in that round of Battlefield 1, as I just quickly wanted to test out the replay buffer, which seems to be working perfectly fine. I tested it again in Titanfall 2, and I was able to record a whole round which was 10 minutes long. And just to show what it will sound like when streaming and what the viewer will hear, this is why I extracted this one. This is what they will basically hear. You can see there's only one audio track, and you can see the quality is much lower because it's 720p. And you can hear there is game sound, and as you can hear, there's also my mic audio. So the viewer will hear your mic, the VoIP, and the game sound. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I do hope it will help you set up OBS so you can record and stream at the same time with multiple audio tracks, and also make use of that replay buffer. If this tutorial did help you out, please consider to like the video, and if you really like me, please consider to subscribe to this channel for epic gameplay videos. And I would love your face forever if you subscribe to this channel. Thank you once again so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. As always, stay frosty, you sexy man, beast or woman.